I have no idea how they're going to choose Game of the Year this year. Because Hades 2 exists. I thought the first game released back in 2020, which should have won Game of the Year by the way, couldn't get better. I feel very dumb right now. Hades 2 expands in ways I didn't think were possible, while keeping everything that made the first game so damn good. It effortlessly leapfrogs the stacked competition to reach the heights that what would go down as this year's Big 3. With refined gameplay, meaningful improvements, Hades 2 is an absolute must-play. I will also talk about Game of the Year at the end, since this will be the last time I talk about a game that was released this year. So I'm hoping this video will explain to you why you need to play Hades 2. Pretty please, with extra sugar on top. Okay, that's enough. If you don't know what Hades is, it's a roguelike, meaning you die a lot, but trust me, that's part of the fun. The setting is based on Greek mythology, which is as badass as it sounds, with crazy lore to explore, literal historic characters to meet, and unbelievable settings to wreak havoc in. The premise is that the Titan of Time named Kronos has taken over the House of Hades, so his daughter Melanoe is tasked with destroying them. Just in case if you didn't understand, I'll say it again. We are fighting time! To do so, you travel through mystical locations, each that either gives you currency, item, or upgrades, all with unique enemies to slay and NPCs aiding your journey, with an epic boss fight guarding the next area. I think that alone is enough to reasonably end the video. However, I understand if you aren't sold on that, since roguelikes have been growing in popularity in recent times. The key in making an excellent roguelike is in the gameplay and systems, because that's what keeps you hitting just one more run, and Hades 2 nails it every single time. Beginning with the gameplay, the word that I would describe it as is addictive, as it is just stupid fun. The base is very simple to understand. You have 3 core attacks, each with an optional mega version that costs mana or magic, plus a dash and 1 special ability. And that's it, now go kill everything. Okay, that's not actually everything, but at its core, Hades 2's combat is really all about these 5 abilities. I know that it might not seem much in this context, but this was a necessity mainly due to the pace of the game. I mean, just look at your screen, enemies charging and projectiles firing in all directions. Pure madness that turns into catharsis as you slay them all. A split second of hesitation, boom, you are dead, so the character's attack must be easy to understand to avoid frustration for the player. This is translated to the 6 weapons within the game, each with their own playstyle of unique and normal special attacks. The simple attack structure creates a very solid foundation for customization. If Supergiant added too much, the chances of needless complexity would be much higher. There's also nothing worse than a game that is wide as an ocean in choice but as deep as a puddle. Don't worry though, Hades 2 is as deep as the Marianas Trench with many systems to keep things fresh. There's just so much to this game, some that returns and some that are new, but I'll stick to the main ones here and talk about the innovative systems in the next section. The main way of getting stronger upgrades is called boons, which you get throughout each floor after you clear room or purchase from Charon. The nicest person maybe a better word would be interesting. Each boon is tied to a member of the Greek pantheon or other closely related characters, all with their own personality and amazing design. Okay, if I show Aphrodite, I might get banned, but they are all great. When selecting a boon, you get 3 choices that can affect an attack or a passive upgrade, and each boon is catered towards a character. There are several boons within the game, each with their own style of effects and alterations, creating a multitude of upgrades that allows for vast customization and, more importantly, experimentation. With the ease of replayability of roguelikes, Hades 2 masters customization just from the system alone, with each boon giving the chance to change one dud run into the run of the century. With how excellent this system works for the game, it's just the tip of the iceberg. There are other ways to get stronger, such as the Daedalus Hammer that fundamentally changes how one of your attacks work, unique to each weapon, such as increased range, more projectiles, etc. Or NPCs within each region that gives even more unique buffs on top of everything else. Deciding on which weapons you like from each weapon adds strategy even in the chaos of RNG. This doesn't even cover the stuff you can do outside of the game with the hub world of the Crossroads, a place that is essentially your base of operations with friendly NPCs to interact with, shops to help you, and where you pick your upgrades. You have Arcana cards that focus on buffs to Melanoe limited to the amount of grasp you have. There are incantations that upgrade the world around you, and keepsakes, which are buffs given to you from the gods and the people you meet. And the best part about all of this is that it's old! Okay, that doesn't really sound great, but what I mean is that these systems at its core were in the first game. A game that I already said was perfect, and Hades 2 returns with these systems and improves it and adds even more. The gameplay being just fun, and the sheer amount of customization that is offered to you is unheard of in most games and near the top of roguelikes. for $30. As you can probably tell with how excited I am talking to you, the experience that this game has to offer is truly one of one, and I don't think there is anything wrong with this gameplay loop. The only real critique I can offer is that once you master these systems and upgrade everything, it does get a little easier in terms of the gameplay loop. But Supergiant thought of that too, with the Pact of Punishment returning as the Testaments of the Night, allowing you to make it much harder. So in summary, there is an argument to be made that on the gameplay and system side alone, Hades 2 is a near perfect game. However, with this logic and argument, why would you play this game if you had played the first, since it's very similar? Firstly, it is a continuation story-wise from the first game, which in my opinion, Chronos is a more interesting threat because, well, how do you stop time? Also, you have a variety of characters to talk to, with many new and some returning with interesting design. Okay, now I'm being banned for him too. Graphics that expand on the comic book style that even on my crappy laptop looks insane, and don't even get me started on the music, easily as good as the original. Many elements that I didn't discuss prior, such as the relationship building and the side content, also returns and has been massively improved. And the gameplay alone is just too good to not want more of it. If this is still somehow not enough after everything I've shown you, let me tell you about the largest additions to this game. The most prevalent one being is that there is another campaign in this game. I guess that's where they get the number 2 from. Yes, apart from going to the depths of Tartarus to reclaim your father's house, you must reach the heights of Olympus to aid Zeus and co in defeating a fearsome foe. Both campaigns are excellent and have many unique areas to explore, as well as how to progress them. The Morning Fields, for example, is the largest playing area in either game, offering numerous rewards if you explore every nook and cranny. The two campaigns allowed the developers to run rampant with more unique area progressions compared to the first, and was a real treat to explore. Also, on the matter of campaigns, they were harder than its predecessor, which I believe is a good thing. I'm not saying that this game is hard, far from it in fact, but I did think that the first game was a little too easy to the point of the end game. In Hades 2, obviously with all the upgrades, it's still relatively easy, but it's a nice change of pace. The next system is something I alluded to in this video, which was the mana bar. The addition of mana allowed the introduction of omega attacks, which each weapon has its own unique versions that you do when holding down a respective button. The variety that this game has to offer is extensive and usually fits the playstyle of the weapon you're using. The thing is I didn't really use them apart from certain weapons. This is not a critique by any means, as I'm glad for the addition, but it's more of a playstyle thing. Hades is a very fast-paced game in its combat, and this small addition of charging your ability while moving slower when doing so is just not worth it in my opinion. Your basic attacks are very fast, and with certain upgrades easily surpasses the damage omega attacks do in a fraction of the casting time. Obviously this means that the reverse is true as well, with many boons or hammers giving buffs to deal with the casting time, but if you don't get them, then you're better off than the original attacks. But at the end of the day, it is a roguelike, so the diversion of playstyle based on what upgrades you get during your run is welcome, so it absolutely does its job. We also have special attacks, which gives a powerful attack at the cost of using magic on omega attacks. The final addition I want to talk about is seeds. Okay, it's technically not wrong, but it's more about the many resources within this game. In the first game, there are only 7 as you see on your screen, and in this game, holy shit. Okay, I know this looks complicated, but it really isn't. The main expansion of resources is to allow certain resources to be used for certain sections of upgrades, rather than using them for all of them. For example, Moon Dust is only used for upgrading Arcana cards, Bones are only used for buying from the shop, Psych for upgrading your Grasp, etc. The vast majority are just used for incantations, which is an improved version of the Resource Director. The reason why there are so many is because they expanded the resource gathering in this game, with picking flowers, mining ores, compelling shades back from the Wandering Abyss. Oh yeah, and fishing. Each area has its own version of each. With the 2 campaigns full of areas, it really adds up. It also encourages flipping between both campaigns to get the upgrades to make you stronger. They aren't rare by any means, so it's not tedious to get what you need. And with a journal that'll tell you exactly where to get them, it's a nice change. So in summary, these are just improvements to the first game, which is perfect. In the gaming landscape, there are 2 types of sequels. One that all you need to do is expand on the base its predecessor did. An example of a successful one this year was Hollow Knight Silksong. The other is that the game needs to do something vastly different in the direction, or just a massive improvement in general to bring people back in. Another successful one this year will be Battlefield 6. Obviously, Hades 2 fits the former because it improves on everything that Hades achieved and then some. That's all it really needed to do, and it still blew me away. Better story, graphics, graphics, gameplay, virtually everything you need to be successful, which is why it is in the Game of the Year discussion this year and the final topic of this video. 2025 has been one of the strongest years in gaming in a relatively long time, but without question, it is defined by the indie games this year. Tantalizing sequels, surprising hits, and everything in between. This year proved that all you need is a dedicated group of people, no matter the size, and passion for your idea to make a great video game. There were still, of course, the typical big budget blockbusters we expect still from big companies, but it didn't quite reach the heights of the past or indie games this year. Of course, all eyes will be on the Game Awards this December on who will be nominated, and of course, everyone will have their opinion on the selection. In my opinion, which of course is completely fine and you're entitled to your own, Expedition 33, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Hades 2 are locks. It would be a massive disservice for any one of these games to not be nominated. And by games, I mean Hades 2, because I don't think there's any chance for the other two to not be there. For the other three, there are many options, and I could see a lot of games getting the nod. However, I think that Donkey Kong Bonanza will be nominated. It is a fun, unique, and new experience that isn't like anything we have seen, and there is usually some sort of Nintendo representation within these awards. I am going to cheat, however, with the next spot, because I think either Death Stranding 2 or Ghost of Yotei will make it, not both. Both are very good games within their own right and deserve this spot, but with all the other games out there, I would find it weird to have both of them on the list. Finally, this is the one I am the most unsure about, but I really hope that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 gets the recognition. I am worried slightly due to it being released at the beginning of the year, but with how expansive this game is, with its grounded atmosphere and gameplay, it should be at the top. Now, who is going to win Game of the Year this year? If I'm being honest, there are only 3 in the running. Each one of these has a strong case of the best game of the year, but come on, we know this game is fighting for first, so let's tackle the other 2. As I mentioned prior, both are outstanding sequels that improved upon most of what made the first game so special. Regardless of what happens in December, both these games are crowning achievements of our generation. But that's not gonna stop me from saying that Hades 2 is a better game. Look, I know that I said that with all the confidence and smugness in the world, but it was a very tough decision to make. It really came down to 2 things. One, I just like roguelikes better than Metroidvanias. It isn't a fault for Silksong by any means, but with how perfect Hades 2 is with a genre that I love, I just prefer it. I'm sure you or others may prefer the opposite due to liking Metroidvanias more, and that's completely fine. But the second point may be a little more controversial, and that is I can nitpick Silksong more than Hades 2. I don't love nitpicking games, but when 2 games being compared are of this quality, it comes down to the smallest advantages. For me, even though I understand the crest system set up for Silksong, I only liked how it changed the animation for the attacks. What I mean is that they're really cool and representative of each crest's purpose, but I'm betting that you like certain animations better than others, which kind of pulled you towards that crest. Also, for that style of game, it's very important for the enjoyment and success, because the game is really hard, so picking a crest purely for its animations may undercut the other ones unfairly. And that leaves 2, and yeah, Expedition is gonna win this one. It's just too big of a technical achievement to overlook. I'm not by any means saying that quantity is over quality, but I think that games that have these long run times while maintaining quality are more impressive to me. Thus, with no surprise, Expedition should get Game of the Year, but I have Hades 2 in second and Silksong in third. But I feel like Hades 2 just came and went. This masterpiece of gameplay, story, and design is just a blast all within an affordable package. So go out there and please get this game, and I hope that this video showed you why you need to play Hades 2.